What does it take to pull off the perfect revenge? I mean, a plan so good it doesn't even look like a crime. Well, today we're diving deep into the thriller Don't Come. And let me tell you, it's a masterclass in vengeance disguised as a ghost story. So here's the thing, we're not starting at the beginning. Nope, we're dropped right into the middle of the chaos. You've got a creepy old mansion, three college students who have vanished without a trace, and everyone's first thought, it's gotta be a ghost. But is it really? All right, let's get into the hook, the thing that grabs you right away, this midnight disappearance. Like I said, we're thrown straight into the deep end, right into the panic and the fear. So the police show up, and the scene is just wild. The teacher is frantic, the other students are completely freaked out, and there's this one witness, Vina, who's just too scared to even talk. All she knows is that the girls stepped outside to grab a dress, and then they were just gone. Okay, so how in the world did we get to this point? To figure that out, we've got to go back a bit. Because something this bizarre doesn't just happen randomly. Oh no. This required every single piece of the puzzle to fall exactly where it needed to be. And this is where you start to see the dominoes fall. It all starts with this college tour, right? But then, bam, the bus breaks down in literally the middle of nowhere. A thick jungle, no cell signal, no mechanic. They are completely stuck. And just when they think things can't get any worse, a local points them to this creepy old bungalow for shelter. Seems like a string of really bad luck, right? Well, what if I told you it wasn't luck at all? Right. So they get to the bungalow, and this is where things take a turn for the spooky. This is where the whole ghost story really kicks off. They're barely inside before they get hit with the local legend, the reason everyone's so afraid of this place. Entered the caretaker, Valu. And this guy, he doesn't waste a second. He immediately starts telling them this super creepy story about a ghost named Vani, a spirit who apparently haunts the very building they're standing in. He even says, oh yeah, I've seen her myself, loads of times. And what's so brilliant about this is how perfect the ghost story is. It's not just some random ghost. The story is that Vani was this beautiful tea plantation worker who was murdered by a British colonel right there in the bungalow. And now her spirit, Velu says, can possess people to get what she wants. It's the absolute perfect cover for anything weird that's about to go down. So you can imagine what happens next. The girls see one of their dresses is somehow outside, in the middle of the night. With that ghost story rattling around in their heads, they go out to grab it. And poof, they disappear. It's no longer just a missing persons case in their minds. It's a full-on ghost abduction. The story has just become their reality. Okay, so now that three students are officially missing, the police are on the scene, and our little campfire ghost story, yeah, that just escalated into a real-life, honest-to-God police investigation. The cops start asking questions, but something's off. Everyone seems to be hiding something. The teacher, Govin, his story has holes in it. Velu, the caretaker, he just keeps pushing that ghost story, which is super suspicious. The cook, Janu, looks like she's about to jump out of her skin. And maybe the biggest red flag of all, the bus driver, Raghu, is also gone. So naturally, he becomes suspect number one. And now we get to the big reveal. Because everything you've just heard, the ghost, the bus breaking down, that dress showing up outside, it was all fake. A perfectly staged production. It was all one giant lie. Let me just be crystal clear. There is no ghost. There never was a Vani haunting that house. The entire thing from start to finish was an incredible illusion, a smokescreen for a calculated, deeply personal revenge plot. So who's the mastermind? Her name is Megha. She was pretending to be a student organizer named Lekha. See, years ago, her mother and her sister were murdered, and the whole thing was brushed under the rug. Megha has spent her life planning this moment, this whole trip. This is her checking the final box. Just look at this timeline. It really shows you how incredible her plan was. Years ago, her family is murdered. She figures out who did it. Her old teacher, a bus driver, and a dirty cop. So what does she do? She spends months, even years, getting close. She befriends their daughters. Yep, the three missing girls. She hires a new bus driver, Raghu, to be in on the plan. She gets her own people, Velu and Janu, to act as the caretaker and cook at the bungalow she's already picked out. Every single detail, the breakdown, the ghost story, it was all designed to create this massive media circus around a kidnapping that puts the real killers right under a microscope. That's right. The targets were the fathers of the missing girls, the teacher, Gavin, the original bus driver, Ramesh, and the corrupt cop, now a high-ranking police SP named Rajan. The very men who should have been protecting them were the whole reason this was happening. She used their own children against them. I mean, talk about psychological warfare. But wait, there's one more massive twist. When she's finally confessing to an honest cop, Megha admits she was planning on killing them. But then she looked at their daughters, these innocent girls, and she saw her own sister's face. And she just couldn't do it. She couldn't continue that cycle of violence. The girls, they were never actually in danger. They were just part of her plan to get justice. And with that, once the girls are found safe and Megha tells her whole story, the system finally does what it was supposed to do all those years ago. The 3 killers are arrested. The cold case of her mother and sister is reopened. Finally, justice is served. Look, at the end of the day, what Megha did was create this incredibly complex and terrifying lie. She manipulated a ton of people, and she definitely put those innocent girls through a nightmare. But she did it because the very system that was supposed to bring killers to justice had failed her and protected them instead. So it leaves you with this really tough question, right? When the law fails you, how far is too far to go to get the justice you deserve?